I did have a question
Shoot.
in regards to your enrollment conversations.
Yeah.
Because you said something that was really interesting to me is that you're not trying to blow their mind or impress them during this enrollment call. But that did leave me kind of wondering in regards to what is it that actually sells you as the coach, that sells your coaching? What is it that makes them decide to come to you specifically then, in that case, instead of going to someone else?
Okay, great question, Max. So there's a couple of things. First of all, what I'm trying to get clear on in my conversation is what really, really matters to that person. What the change is that they want to make, the goal they want to achieve, the transformation they want to go through, the result they want to get. Uh, and that may be something external, but at least the way I work, I always want to find out what the internal experience they're looking for is as well. Because as you guys have probably cottoned on to by now, my main delivery system for everything I do is you're going to get a deeper understanding of the inside-out nature of life, and that's going to do some stuff for you, which may or may not get you to the specific goal. So let's talk about that. So I want to have a very honest and real conversation with them because I want to be clear. Like sometimes someone will say, well, can you guarantee that if I do this with you, I'm going to sign up 10 clients by next year? I'm like, absolutely not. I'm like, you can maybe guarantee that. I can't, because it's going to be a function of the action you take and all that sort of stuff. So part of what I'm wanting to do is find out what matters to them, what it is that's motivating them in the first place. But also, I'm wanting to get into a really good connection with them and listen good. So I feel in a way, the things that are selling me to them as a coach, as someone who's a good fit for them, one of them is I'm good at listening. Don't underestimate how rare it is for anyone to be listened to. Like people go around and they're living in worlds where no one's listening to them. You listen to them, there's some value in that right there. Then you listen to them in such a way that you fall into a connection with them. And they feel connected to you and more connected to themselves. That has value right there. And you listen to them in a way that you fall into connection with them and they start to have insights or realizations or feel like they've moved forward already in some way. That has value to them right there. And then this sounds sort of, it's hard to put into words in a way that doesn't sound a bit shit, but I'll do my best. I think, Max, that people pick up on that feeling of certainty. That feel like it's funny. Did you guys see a coaching session I did with Susie a few months ago? So some people have. I'll reshare it on the Facebook page. It was a really nice session, and we're talking about who Susie really is. And talking about the true self and that sort of thing. And what you'll see in that session is I'm largely indifferent to whether my client believes me or not when I say that they've got everything they need. It's like it's not really that important to me that they believe me. Sort of like if you were showing someone the arrow in the FedEx logo. I actually did this with someone the other day. I said, well, check out this FedEx logo. You see that arrow? They're like, no, I can't see it. I'm like, well, you will. You'll see it. They're like, what if I can't? I'm like, I'm pretty confident that you're going to, because you know it's, once you know it's there, that communicates what I call a kind of a quiet certainty, a grounded certainty. Again, just like I said, don't underestimate how rarely people have someone listening to them. Don't underestimate how rare it is for people to meet someone who is comfortable in their own skin and has a sense of knowing or grounded certainty about how the world works, has some answers for things that kind of ring true. Like, you know that feeling of when you're listening to someone who's onto something and you're like, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. And there's something that kind of is like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That's kind of rare for people. So there's something that I once heard a guy called Jay Abraham say, very successful consultant and strategist and that sort of thing. He said, people are silently begging to be led. And they want to be led by someone who feels as though they know where they're going. Now, where I'm wanting to lead my clients to is the truth of who they really are. So I don't have any particular place I want to lead them to in terms of you should structure your business like this, or you should, paint your face like this, or I don't have any outcomes. Where I want to lead them is to a realization of who you really are and how your life works, how it works. And yeah, that kind of carries a credibility. So I think that's the stuff that people are drawn to. Like the other thing, and this may seem obvious, but coaching is delivered in conversation. And so when I'm speaking to a potential client, one of the things I'm trying to figure out is, am I going to enjoy having a bunch of conversations with this person? And the client, whether they realize it or not, is asking themselves the same question. And that's about chemistry. Like, I'm not a good fit for everybody. And not everybody is a good client for me. Now, the level of principle, they all are, but in reality, So does that answer your question, Max?
That's awesome. Yeah, I hear a lot in that, and it's very different than I've looked at it so far, but there's a lot that makes sense about it. And yeah, I want to carry that and kind of see how that goes in action. But so far, the message I've always gotten in these kind of coach sales trainings and all that is like, blow their mind in the next 2 hours, and then they'll want to, enroll. And this is a very different way of approaching it. And I like it.
Well, and here's the thing, I haven't gone into power saver mode. I'm just reflecting to try and see. So this comes all the way back to my job here is to create a context where people can have the insights and realizations. Well, when I'm just hanging out and having a conversation with someone, there's not enough LSD in the world for me to blow a client's mind. The only person who can blow a client's mind is the client. It's inside out. And the last thing I want to do is do a session where I've so impressed them with how clever I am. That's a hiding to nothing. So but the reason I say that is, we'll check in with Sarah in a second. I know the person I'm talking to already has this understanding. Like, in essence, it's already there within them. They have the capacity for insights and realizations. They have the capacity for mental clarity. They have the capacity for connection and peace and a realization of who they really are. So if I'm being a try-hard and trying to blow their mind, we may miss the chance for their mind to get blown, because that's going to make it harder for them. Like, the best thing I've got going for me is their capacity for insight, realization, clarity, and connection, okay? The best thing I can do to facilitate that is be coming from the truth of that in myself. And the thing that would totally fucking get in the way of that is me trying to blow the client's mind. It really does work inside out.